Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to World at War Comics. My next special guest is Mr. Max Ferrada. Max, Stellarlands. It was out. You sent me a copy last year. It was pretty popular, man. I was just looking across TikTok. Dude, everybody was doing reviews, man. So a lot of people loved it, man. Now we're coming into issue number 2. Thanks for bringing it to me, man. It was awesome. Ben Warl is incredible on art.
Yeah,
Dude, killed it. Absolutely killed it, man.
incredible. And I keep on telling this story. When I first advertised for a artist to work on this vision of mine, this vast, dense, hardcore sci-fi superhero fare, when you're a paying writer, you will get hundreds, if not thousands of applications. It was just, I didn't post it on multiple Facebook sites. I posted it on one Facebook site called Sydney Comics Australia, run by SK, who's like a professor emeritus of comic books here in Australia. And people all over the world, in spite of the fact that it was a Sydney-based group or a group that concerned itself with Sydney artists and Sydney creators, artists from all over the world, Brazil, Argentina, America, they all applied. You will never be on short supply of incredible talent. They're out there, they're hungry, and they're often the nicest, craziest people you'll ever meet. But yeah, if you do advertise for an artist, your DMs will get flooded. Ben Warl was number one. He was the first person to apply. And if I just picked him then, I would have saved myself 3 months. But I had to do my due diligence. I had to go through 3 months of going through applications and looking at portfolios and chatting with people. And yeah, in the end, I went with the first guy who applied. It honestly felt like running a marathon when I could have just gone next door, you know?
You did your due diligence, though. I think that's pretty awesome. Now, is Ben in Sydney? Has
No, Ben
or
is a fellow American.
ah
He's in Colorado. Although he does jump around a lot for conventions, as
yeah.
is the norm for artists, for comic artists. But it's by no means a challenge because by the time he finishes a page or he gets art done, that's when I wake up. So it's great feeling waking up and then your phone and your emails are robust with art. Great way to start the day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'd love to kind of go back a little bit before we jump into Stellarlands. Let's talk about where this passion for storytelling started in your life. Was it at a young age, and was there somebody in your life that kind of encouraged you to go down that path?
Um, it's in the family tree. I mean, that's that much is evident when I look at well, first of all, my real name is Martin Ponferrada.
Okay.
Max Ferrada is just a pen name, and yeah, you'll find out why in a moment. But my family tree bristles with a great many artists. You know, I have a published uncle who's a poet, who's a teacher who lives in San Francisco. I have other uncles who are speech writers for presidents, you know, for presidents in the Philippines. Yeah, I have a novelist cousin in Boston. I have so yeah, my brother lives in Culver City in Los Angeles and he's an audio engineer. So yeah, the family tree bristles with a great many creative branches. In that sense, my artistic creative temperament was almost inevitable. One could even say it was genetically inevitable. I can't pinpoint to an exact moment, but yeah, when you like something, it's probably the earliest memory that you have is liking it. And yeah, I like telling stories, and I went and got a degree in film, and yeah, I make a lot of short films, and I work in video production. I work for a boutique media firm in the northern beaches in Sydney, and no 2 days are alike. I could be editing a corporate videos one day, or training videos one day, or a really dark documentary another day, or you know, working on cool infographics. Yeah, so that's where it started in a sense. I love visual storytelling. I've seen a lot of films and I read a lot of books, and that's a lot of the percentage of my time on this planet. If you can't see me in front of you, I'm probably reading or watching a movie. That's how it usually goes. Don't have much of a social life, but when you're as much of an introvert as I am, that's not really a big deal. Just rolling on, I mean, just feel free to cut me off at any time.
No, no,
But
please, Max. Yeah.
COVID happened. Australia got, I believe, three lockdowns, three and a half, because there was one lockdown that was isolated only to the northern beaches during the Christmas season. But during that time, during those 3 months of lockdown, I wasn't making any films. No one was making any films. I couldn't ring up my colleagues and say, hey, let's meet up, let's do a little mumblecore Australian type film somewhere, which is usually the case. I love making films on the fly. I love improvisation and handheld camera. Half Nelson is one of my favorite films of all time. I love John Cassavetes. He's my favorite director. Yeah, Robert Altman as well. The overlapping dialogue. I love that organic nature and that spontaneity. That wasn't happening at all during 3 months in your apartment. And this brought back to mind Alan Moore, because I do read. I have been reading graphic novels for the longest time. I'm more of a chapter book reader, but I did read comic books as well. Now, Alan Moore said in an interview, the difference between film and comic books. For film, you need an army, actors, crew, DOP, sound designer, editor, Foley artist, sound editor, and so on. You need an army to make a film. To make a comic book, all you need is a biro. That was that was particularly encouraging, motivating. Of course, a gross simplification,
Yeah.
because you still needed an army, and my army came in the form of a colorist, an artist, and a letterer. And I was able to sort of get this urge, this instinct to tell a creative visual story by transposing my filmic instincts into comic books. There are similarities. There's framing, there's mise-en-scene, there's pacing. I mean, one is frames, like going by you 24, 25 frames a second, depending on where you are in the world. In comic books, the pacing is your turning of the page, how well your panel layout is, yeah, how dense your dialogue is. Yeah, so there is a sense of pacing, and you can't do movement, obviously, in a comic book, but you can sort of manipulate it, and you could
Yeah.
see it in some of my panels when I put three like similar frames and identical frames almost, and then you just change the choreography or the positioning a little bit, and then you get it's like film frames, one next to each other. So yeah, I guess you can manipulate films that way. But in the end, it's Aristotelian, beginning, middle, end, and it's visual storytelling. And yeah, that satisfied the instinct, and the instinct stayed with me until after COVID. Those 3 months went like that. I don't know about Ben, because I was on the phone with him a lot. But for me, and I feel guilty saying this, but I had a great time during lockdown. I know a lot of people were depressed and suffering, the extroverts among us, but speaking as an introvert, I could have gone for another 3 months, Okay, I found it extending it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, I'm in the grocery industry and I work for a company that's in San Diego, which is about an hour and 45, 2 hours away, driving. And before
Mhm.
lockdown, I was going there 5 days a week, 4 days a week. So when the lockdown happened, we were all able to work from home. And I saved 4 hours of driving every single day. I actually got more done. And then when we all came back to work, our CEO said, you know what? I think you guys were actually a little bit more effective
Productive.
working from
Yeah.
home. Yeah. So let's just, we'll come into the office 2 days a week. The other three, y'all work from home, and it all worked out. And we certainly were more efficient with that time because, San Diego is a pretty big city, about 6, 7 million people. So a lot of people have to take buses and trains and trolleys, and yeah, even though they're closer than I was, it's still that time frame, right? It could still take you 45 minutes to get there because there's a couple of universities that are pretty big in San Diego that take up those trains in the morning. So everyone
Right.
was happier. It's just everybody. It worked out perfect, right? So yeah, certainly there was a lot of bad stuff that happened during the pandemic, but a lot of good things came out of it as well. I think
Yeah,
we all got
it
closer to our
definitely changed the
families.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, you don't know whether or not those muscles are strong until you flex them.
exactly.
Yeah, and that's what it showed.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about this storyline and where the influence of this storyline has come from. So you talked about comic books, graphic novels, Alan Moore, who obviously is a legend.
Mhm.
But then on the movie side, I would love to know. It sounds like to me that maybe on the movie side had a lot more of the influences since that's the kind of the world that you live in. Correct me if I'm wrong, Max,
Yep,
but I
yep.
would love to understand where it came from, the storyline. How long have you had this story, and how long you've been sitting on it? And did you know right away that you wanted to put this through as a comic, or were you thinking about other avenues to get this story out, whether it was short films or something of that nature?
Well, no, it was going to be a graphic novel simply for practical reasons. Could you imagine the ridiculous budget that would
Yeah,
accrue if you were to replicate the world, which Ben and I and
yeah,
Wilson were able to put in the page? That
hmm,
itself was challenging enough, but
yeah,
again, I didn't have to pay for an army. I just had to pay for this small army, so I was able
yeah,
to, yeah, create that, and yeah, just doing something of that scale and that demand within a film. You'd need Bitcoin money, man. You'd need crypto.
yeah,
You need inheritance money for that sort of thing.
yeah,
Government's not
yeah.
going to give you a grant. I mean, no,
They wouldn't do that, huh?
no. For they reserve something more for an
Yeah,
intimate drama that they can wrap their themes around, and also get on top of. But something like Stellarlands, that budget would just spiral. It's like
yeah,
five Mad Maxes. All right,
yeah,
so it never occurred to me to make a film out of it. I don't think I'm open to an adaptation because that, in a sense, if I could echo the words of our Lord and Savior Alan Moore, if I could echo his sentiments,
yeah, yeah,
turning by adapting a comic book into a film, you're kind of turning comic books into storyboards that are just
yeah,
waiting to be shot. That comic books are an incomplete medium. I completely agree. I mean, I'm still gonna watch that Watchmen animated television series. It looks great. The voice actors look amazing. The animation is about as close in close proximity to the actual sources you can get. Still
yeah,
gonna watch it. I'm gonna feel guilty. I'm gonna have the good artistic sense to feel like a traitor to Alan Moore when I watch it, but I'm gonna watch it anyway. It looks great.
yeah,
So, but but for those reasons, I am not open to that part of the world and the film. In terms of sensibilities, which influenced me in the film world, I'm obsessed with, it's more television than film, and in many ways, we are going through a golden age of film. I mean, I just within the social circles or the hashtag trending Game of Thrones or Succession, HBO in general is just out mentioning the cinema in general. Yeah, even the MCU. Some of the most interesting risk-taking feats are being
yeah,
performed on television, even within the superhero realm. Homelander drinking breast milk, for goodness sake. You're not going to see that in an MCU film, that has to be vetoed or approved by
yeah,
corporate executives 10 times over.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Uh it is television, and there is a show that I like. It's my favorite show. I'd say I'm obsessed with this show. It's The Wire. I think it's the greatest
Uh,
show of all time, created by David Simon.
yeah.
Uh, it's been called Balzacian. I'm not gonna pretend that I've read Balzac, but
Yeah, I don't know
basically
who
what
that.
it is yeah, all of Balzac's books are interconnected. It's a vast
Okay.
network of several different things happening at the same time, main characters bumping into supporting characters who become main characters in another book. Uh, Imagine this in 2002 to 2008 in The Wire. Just to go through things quickly, although it's very
Yeah.
difficult to show like The Wire. It's 5 seasons. The main character of the seasons, while there are recurring characters, the main character is the setting. It's the city of Baltimore. Season one covered the streets, so everything that happened in within the towers or the drug dealing dens and alleys and street corners. They call them the corners after as popularized by David Simon's previous show. That was season one. Season two
Uh-huh.
was the box. They went away from their focus from the streets, and they looked at the corruption and the seedy underworld of freighting, of life on the docks, of being a stevedore. I didn't know what a stevedore was until I watched that season. Season three took us up to the holds of politics and something called
Yeah.
Hamsterdam. Won't get into that, but they basically legalized drugs. Season four was in the schools, the public school system. You got to meet teachers and these wayward students with very different fates whose paths all intersected but went in disparate directions. And season five was took place in the paper, the newspaper, the dying industry. And so you got to see how the city of Baltimore dealt with crime as seen through the prism of those 5 institutions, of those 5 settings. Now,
Yeah.
what if Baltimore was a universe? What if the suburbs or sub cities or those little areas were different planets?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so that's where I got the idea. You've read both issues,
Yeah,
both
you
issues.
sent me the first one was incredible. Yeah. That's what I
Yeah,
did the
yeah.
first review. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
Yeah.
you'll notice that the first and second characters, they're not the same people.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
characters are not the same people. They don't even meet, although I do sprinkle hints of
Yeah.
how they're related, of how the stories are related and how they'll intersect. Yes, there are separate stories,
Yeah.
beginning, middle, and end. My mandate is that you will never see the words "to be continued" in a
Yeah.
Stellarlands book. You will get a satisfactory Aristotelian story arc. You'll get a beginning, middle,
Yeah.
problem, solution. Solution might not even be the most satisfactory solution. It'll be open-ended,
Yeah.
it'll be playful, it'll be emotional, but it'll be a finished story. Now, a
Yeah.
main character in book one could be a supporting character in book two.
Yeah.
Different, different aspects are tackled in all of the issues. Uh, Issue one was espionage.
Mhm.
Issue two was life on a military base. I'm
Yeah.
writing issue three right now, which is about arts and monuments rescue, how we rescue uh like significant cultural artifacts from war
Mm.
zones. You know, the main example of which is Monuments Men,
Wow.
which was this awful film by
Yeah.
Clooney, but the documentaries about it were really interesting, really good, and it planted the kernel of hype speculation in my
Yeah.
mind that this would
Hmm.
carry out in a within a sci-fi setting. So that was a very long answer, but
No, it's great.
yeah, it's a very long I guess it was a very long story. It's a very a long thematic concern of mine. And
Yeah.
yeah, you really can't explain it any other way. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a vast networking, intersecting. That's life
Yeah.
sometimes, you know? I mean, yeah, I mean, our the TV shows of our life stories are going to continue after this podcast, and
Yeah.
they're probably going to be very different.
Yeah, yeah. No, 100%, man. 100%. I agree with you completely, man. What I'd love to do is so this is going to be an 8-part series, correct? So you have 8 different stories that will make up Stellarlands at the end?
Yeah, that's the plan, and then all the
Yeah.
characters combine, you know, for a proposed ninth issue,
Ah,
where they have a big boss fight.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I hope we'll get that far, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, we just smashed our Kickstarter goal, and if we
Yeah.
keep smashing it, that'll be great. But you
That'll
know,
help, right?
there's no deadline. It's something that you know that I'll keep doing so long as the Kickstarters are successful, or if I can mount a Kickstarter, but all the scripts are already written.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to get them drawn, and we just have to find the strength and focus and wherewithal to
Yeah.
get them all in play. And so far, it's been quick. You know,
Yeah.
3 years, 3 issues. I anticipate 2 years, 2 issues.
Hmm.
This is going to be the third, and we've already started the third. I like to joke to people who I am on podcasts with. I've done a few of these already, and I tell them, you know what, it could be done in quick succession, or you know, by the time issue 8 comes around, it'll be like 50 years into the future, and then I'll be 88, and you know, pushing 100, and we'll be having this conversation, and you'll be telling me
I love
I'm getting shit. A lot of people don't
it.
like that story. They these guys, my publisher doesn't like that story.
Yeah,
That joke.
yeah.
But yeah, that's yeah, you know, it's no rush. If it happens, it
Yeah.
happens, and it's just a matter of how long or how quick.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, let me I'm gonna pull it up because I have this Kickstarter here. Let's pull it up. That way people know. Congratulations on also becoming a project we love. I think anybody that's trying to do a Kickstarter, right? That's always a goal is to get in front of whoever's making those decisions over at Kickstarter, because that shows that this is a high quality item.
Yeah. Can I just
And
say,
yeah,
wow on those tabs that you have? So many tabs.
I know it's
That's a
embarrassing,
creative
man.
mind.
I'm all
No,
over the place. Half of it's
no,
work, half of it is comic book related,
that's
man.
fine.
So
Not judging. I'm the
I
same way. You know, people went to Einstein's office in Princeton when he passed away,
yeah.
and they thought that he'd been robbed and ransacked, and that someone had to tell them, no, this is how Einstein just keeps his shit. He has
Yeah.
papers
Well, I'm
everywhere.
glad you said that, man. I'm hiding a lot of stuff, but if you look at my desk, dude,
Yeah.
I just push the junk to one side so it looks like it's clean on this side, but I got stuff
Oh,
everywhere, man.
my bookshelf is full. My dining table has all these books. You know,
I love it, man. I love it.
something about the creative mind. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you have to, right? I mean, there's so many things going on, and I don't want to, you kind of have FOMO sometimes where you don't want to miss out on anything that's
Is
taking
that it?
place. And yeah, I
Oh,
think
that's
so.
yeah,
I
that's too
love
bad. Yeah.
reading and I love making sure that I'm on top of a lot of the stories that are taking place. So even the stuff that I really don't care for, I always give everything a try at least once. And then if I enjoy it, obviously I continue to buy it. But I end up buying a lot of stuff that like, I probably shouldn't have bought that, but here it is. I'll put it in one of my boxes and it'll sit there forever unless it becomes a collector's item, which I doubt because I didn't care for it very much. So I'm not sure who else liked it.
It
There's a
still
lot of
adds value to
titles.
your house. Yeah. Even if you don't read,
100%.
yeah, it still adds value to
Yeah.
the atmosphere and just your soul. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I love really digging into the creative mind side of other creators. I just think that's an exciting and how like where the stories come from. And so I guess that leads into the next question, Max, is when did this story come to you? Was it during the pandemic that you kind of put all this story together and started to put
Yeah.
it on paper? Is that when it all
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah. Look, the research phase
Uh-huh.
started during yeah, during those 3 months in lockdown. And it started there, and it was like, what was it, 2020? It was maybe a year of research.
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more, but and this is a tip to all writers, if your brain works like this. I had done so much character development and character building and researching and world building. I knew the characters, what they looked like, their favorite foods, their insecurities, their principles, their yeah, their moral fabric, their motivations. I knew everything about everything. I even hired a scientific consultant whose work will emerge and in the third issue. But I researched a lot. I consumed a lot, and by the time, and I also plotted a lot of a lot of the comic books, so that by the time when writing came along, I think I wrote all 8 issues, the first draft of all 8 issues, 42 pages an issue.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's not an accident, by the way. 42, if you know, you know. 42 pages times 8. I don't do math, that's why
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
arts, but that's a lot. And I
Yeah. And
wrote,
it's got to be 360 something pages, almost 400, right?
yeah,
That's a pretty good size. That's the one thing I love about your issues is they are oversized. So in the US, right, normally you're getting 24 to 28 pages. 28's
yeah,
even kind of big. So you go through those stories pretty quick. What I love about Stellarlands is that it is beefier. And so you're getting a lot more story, and they are enclosed, like you said, stories within each book.
yep.
So that's I think a plus, Max, to be quite honest, from a reader standpoint.
Yep, I thank you so much. I hope, yeah, people are listening and this impels you to pledge. We have 9 days to go. I don't know when this goes out, but maybe
Yeah.
yeah, you'll have 7 or 6 days by the time this comes out. But yeah, you still have, yeah, time to pledge. And just to finish answering that question,
Yeah.
I finished those 400 pages in like 3 weeks.
Wow.
So it
Wow.
but because I had put so much research and plotting, it was like the tape, like tape was removed from the characters' mouths, and they can finally speak. And yeah, I liken myself not to a writer, but a stenographer, just taking dictation of all of my yeah, all of my characters. And if I
Yeah.
can quote Charles Bukowski, let it come out of you in a flood, or don't let it come out at all.
Yeah.
Because yeah, if well, it's more of a paraphrase and a direct quotation, but if it's something that was meant to be written by you, you don't have a choice. It'll be written by you. It'll come out of you. Yeah, like liquid fire. It'll just spew out of you. And yeah, otherwise it'll die in you.
Yeah.
And yeah, in this case, and with basically with everything I create, and I'm sure I'm not alone here, everything happened very, very quickly. It's like it was just hanging there, and I just grabbed it and just threw it at my laptop. That's yeah, and that's how it worked.
And then can you talk about how your story and the way that you were going to bring it forth, how you got connected with comics as a
Um,
publisher? Like, did you try and see, can I do this on my own? Because a lot, at least in the US, there's a lot of printers and a lot of people just create their own publishing company
all right,
and
yeah.
do it their own. I don't know how readily available that is in Australia. I assume it's the same, but what was the reason for comics and what did comics bring to Stellarlands? Because I think from a marketing standpoint, man, I saw it all over my feeds. I don't know if that's just you or if that was comics helping out, but it was pretty impressive how
Oh no,
much
yeah,
us in
yeah.
the US saw it.
Yeah, no, no, comics does a lot of the admin. I don't know if I had to go there,
Hmm.
but yeah, my search for a publisher was very quick, and that's not necessarily self-trumpet, because the comic was pretty much already done.
Yeah.
So of course, someone's gonna pick it up. Yeah, and again, that's more advice to creators out there. It's called skin in the game. If you have skin in the game, if you've shown investment, you'll probably get more nibbles, be it in publishers or Kickstarter backers.
Yeah.
Now, Comex, these guys, they take
Mhm.
care of all the admin stuff. My priority was just to focus on the creative stuff, and they allowed me to do it. And that, like, I never set up this Kickstarter's page. Shane, who is the founder and CEO of Comex, did. Yeah, dude, I don't know what an ISBN is. I don't know what a saddle is. I don't know what the bleed is. These are words that are completely alien to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a variant cover was until I started comic books. Now I want all of the variant cover. That's yeah, that's how little I knew of the actual publishing work.
Yeah.
Speaking of variant covers, I'd just like to give a shout out to Dino Agor who did the art. Not the cover of the
Not this
book.
one right here. Yeah.
Yeah, just not if you go back up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, shit.
yeah, the actual surrounding art where the characters are looking at
Oh,
each other. That's by Dino Agor, and he infused so much emotion
yeah.
onto the
Yeah.
page that eye contact speaks volumes. And if you've read the book, that distance between them might as well be another universe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even the suits that they wear. Like, I want to give anything away in issue 2. You want people to come here, but yeah, I would love to even dig more into that relationship or the lack thereof and where that came from. Because I think that's very relatable, to be quite honest, in this day and
Oh,
age in
look,
certain areas. You know what I mean?
I try to, yeah, the relatability comes from another mandate of mine, and that's to emphasize the human in superhuman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you recall in issue one, the hero in question had a drinking problem. She
Yeah.
had substance abuse issues, and it plagued her and her ability to be a superhuman so much that I found myself in the writing process. I wasn't, it had consumed so much of her identity, this very human thing,
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't feel like I was writing Captain Marvel with a drinking problem. It felt like I was writing a woman with a drinking problem who happened to have superpowers. And that's what that is. I try to, for all the yeah, for all the sci-fi settings and the hardcore science, and solving your problems with superpowers. And no spoiler alert, but superpowers don't solve your problems in my book. But for all of that, the things that I remember the most, in which I put on the most effort, were the human things.
Yeah.
Were Yeah, were their insecurities, and
Yeah.
yeah, their traumas, yeah, that which makes us human,
Mm-hmm. Very
and then
relatable. Yeah.
superpowers are just the thing that comes on top of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I try to elicit emotion. I mean, that is the most important thing in anything in
Yeah.
film. If there's, yeah, another piece of advice I could give out, if you're working in a storytelling medium, be it film or comic books, yeah, the pages can be pretty, they can look beautiful, and the dialogue could be like real sharp, Edward Albee sharp. But
Yeah.
if you don't have an emotional connection to anything, then you're not going to remember what you're consuming.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, you have to have an emotional connection to it, and
Yeah.
I hope that people did feel an emotional connection to it. And it has received both issues have received so many great reviews. Issue two in particular, the word that comes up often is heartbreak, and I appreciate that from everyone who's left a review so far. The one bad review that issue one got was from a critic who guest starred on Triple G Comics, and it's not like and the thing was, he was emotional. He wasn't not invested in the book. He just, without giving spoilers away, he didn't agree with what the character did in the end. As
Mhm. Yeah.
far as criticisms go, it
Yeah.
shows me
Yeah.
that he interacted with the material, and he wasn't,
Yeah.
disassociated from it as you would if you just didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think as far as bad reviews go, that's probably the best one I could add,
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like you said, it's supposed to elicit emotion, and how people receive that emotion is going to be different, right? Especially if you get overly invested, or if you could relate to a character a lot, and then that character does something that you think you would never do.
Like you can't
Obviously,
do
you
it.
don't want
Yeah,
it to end that way, right? Because I have that same problem, and I would not do that. And you could get overly invested. And I think as nerds and as comic book fans, a lot of times we do that. And that's why you get people like go ballistic when there's a big change to a comic that you've been reading for a long time. And like, that's not the guy that I've been reading this whole time, you know? So yeah, I can relate a little bit, I
yeah.
guess, to it. And that is, like you said, if you're going to get any kind of review that's not great, at least it's someone who was fully invested all the way to the end, just didn't like the way it
Yeah,
ended,
that's
right?
true. It wasn't abandoned. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
right.
never
Yeah, right at
never
the end.
jumped
Yeah.
out halfway and go, oh man, I can't even finish this. No, I finished it. I just didn't like the way you ended it. Well, that's an emotion I want to draw out of people too, right? And
Yeah, you don't want to, put a bow tie and everything.
yeah,
We're adults. Sometimes your problems go unresolved, or sometimes
yeah,
are exacerbated. And the real maturity, the real resolution is not in solving your problems, but learning to live with them,
yeah,
learning to handle them.
yeah,
Not seeing the demon out of your house, but seeing the demon and saying, "Okay, hey, you're there." So, yeah.
yeah. Well, let's walk through this quickly, just so they could see what they're getting. Obviously, issues 1 and 2 are available here. You could, if you already have one, you could get two, but there's all kinds of different ways to make your purchase. Um, I love you give a little bit of a background, which is awesome. Here is like when I was watching all the reviews, especially on TikTok, man, a lot of the people that reviewed your comic I'm friends with, and we all kind of do reviews
Yes.
together. And I was like, yeah, that comic book was badass, man. The art is absolutely spectacular. And we talked about that already.
Got lucky with
Incredible.
Ben. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben is amazing, man. And I'll look for him. I do go to a lot of cons on the West Coast specifically. So if Ben is going to be at LA Comic Con, or if he goes to San Diego or WonderCon or some of the other ones on the West Coast, I definitely got to meet this guy because his art is beautiful, man. Absolutely good partnership.
Yeah, he's great. Yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
fans of Invincible. All right. The before I put this, I mean, after I put this on there, the fans of Invincible, I was on a podcast called the Very Fine Comic Books Podcast, and they said
Mm,
that the art reminded them of Ryan Otley. And
yeah.
I'm a more of a chapter book reader. I didn't know who Ryan Otley was. And yeah, I think I do believe that Ben was very chuffed about that compliment. So yeah,
Yeah.
the artwork is very Invincible like, but not just that, but Invincible, the thing I like about Invincible is yeah, they have superpowers, but it's the father-son relationship,
Yeah.
or the whole idea of responsibility, which probably Spider-Man did best, but yeah, Invincible does it very well as well, with the caveat that his Uncle Ben figure, so to speak, is a psycho. But
Yeah.
that's yeah, that's the dimensions which I love in Invincible.
Uh,
Interstellar, because of the science, what kind of annoys me a little bit. I love Star Wars, I love Star Trek, but whenever they go to another planet, oxygen's the same, gravity's the same,
yeah.
like they're just going to another neighborhood. No, not
Yeah.
only is the atmosphere different,
Yeah,
but
gravity,
time is
everything.
different. Yeah,
Time
yeah.
is different. Like I
Time
love
is
that,
different.
right? Because it would be different, right? It should be different.
Yes, yes. Depending on where you're situated, the proximity
Yeah.
to which you're situated to something of a huge gravitational force,
Yeah.
time will go slower. And I don't know if any other film has shown time dilation as poetically and as beautifully and as just so emotionally as Interstellar did. I know Orson Scott Card did it in Ender's Game. But yeah, if anybody's watching and can tell me other instances of time dilation done well in sci-fi, I would love to know. But yeah, those are the only two that come to mind. And yeah, of the two, I do believe I prefer Interstellar. And Blankets is one of my favorite comic books of all time. If you've read it, I don't want to spoil it because I know it's been out since what 1997 and yeah, a long time. So yeah, you've had like 30 years to read it. But for new fans finding it, you will not see a more like raw or grounded story of requited or unrequited love. Yeah, I just got my heart was broken at the end of the book, and I'm sure I'm not alone there. Yep, and here are the variants. Yep, Dino Agor just knocks it out of the park. I didn't really give him any instructions. Like I said, I didn't know what a variant cover was. The publisher just encouraged it, and this is what Dino created. Yeah. Yep, and yeah, I love this. Yeah. Is your sound on, by the way? I think you're muted.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, now I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay,
Were you
perfect.
able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay, that's yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I don't know
I
what
didn't
happened.
notice. Yeah, no, I'm embarrassed because I was just talking and talking and talking, and I realized that I couldn't hear you or gauge your responses, and I
Oh
think that
no.
might be why I don't do that well on Tinder. I just keep and talking.
You're good, man. You're good, man. You're good. All right, so here's that other cover that we were just talking about, the eye contact.
Yeah, and
It's
Wilson
absolutely
also colors
beautiful.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this
Wilson
is
is the
all
color.
this is also Dino right here, right?
Yep, Dino did the
Yeah.
the covers, fellow Filipino, and yeah, Wilson colored it. And
That's
yeah, he
amazing.
also colors the internals. Yeah, Wilson's great. He's so focused.
Yeah.
He's got an his artistry is almost borders on psychopathy. Let me tell you a story, a quick story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was on WhatsApp talking to the colorist, Wilson Go, and then suddenly, because we were talking about coloring, we were in the process of the coloring phase. Suddenly he just drops out. Connection's gone. Like, what's going on? Okay, a few hours later, he comes back and says, "Sorry, Martin, there was an earthquake here." Okay, where were we? He apologized for an earthquake. What kind? He just went back to coloring. What kind of psycho apologizes for an earthquake? No, he's great. Yeah,
I love
he's
it. That's
fantastic.
a
Yeah,
dedicated colorist right there. That's
that's
dedication,
a passionate colorist. I think he's amazing. Yeah,
man. You got a good team, man. You got a good team.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, we spoke about that. Yeah, you get bang for
Yeah.
your buck and no long wait times because we showed skin in the game. The
Yep.
comic book is already done or close to done,
Yeah.
and it's just a matter of printing. And yeah, thank goodness for Comex, these guys, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to tackle the printing process.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And then the world building that you're doing in each issue has been absolutely fantastic too. And the detail that goes on behind the scenes, right? Obviously, all the characters need to be at the forefront, right? Because you're telling a story with those characters. But the behind the scenes is also crucial in comic books as you're building out that world to understand what that world looks like as they're all interacting on that world. And I love the art that has helped to add to that. So that's another, I think, awesome part of
Yeah,
Stellarlands is the details that go behind the scenes as well.
yes. And if I could just dwell on the details
Yeah.
here are it's a military compound, it's a military
Hmm.
base, joint use military base. If I can give a fellow comic reviewer a shout out, a Poke and Joe. He has a military background, and he said that yeah, it was realistic.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I did have a brief consult with Dave Dye, an Australian comic book artist who has experience with the armed forces. But if I'm going to be completely honest, the bulk of my research wasn't books. It was watching Generation Killed over and over again. And if you've seen it, it's not the most romantic portrayal of,
Yeah.
soldiery or heroism. It's yeah, they're depicted as just like frat boys in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
yeah in Afghanistan in Iraq. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I got a lot of the vernacular down and a lot of the language and the nomenclature down. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is awesome, man.
Yep.
The
So
artwork
yeah,
is absolutely incredible.
like, that's what I was talking. See the those three there. That's what I'm talking about when I say movement. I mean, you can't have
Yeah.
move, but yeah, if you have two similar frames side by side and you adjust the movement within those similar frames, then
Yeah.
you get something that closely resembles movement. I mean, I'm sure there are more ingenious ways of doing it, but yeah, I'm still learning. It's that
Yeah.
student mindset is valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. And yeah, I think that's what you try to do in comics.
Yeah. Again,
So
that's a
yeah, I like the,
generation skill shot. Yeah.
yeah, that's
They
a
all
great,
stand around. Yeah. During
I,
their
I,
briefing. Yeah.
I love the suits that they wear too and what it does for them. It's pretty
Right.
amazing as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Beautifully drawn, beautifully colored.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the character
Wilson.
development is awesome as well on each of these folks.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they tell you when you start off making comics, don't have nine panels in a page, but this is one exception, I think, because
This works. This works.
oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially when it's just headshots like that. I
Yeah,
think
that's
people
right.
try to
Yeah.
get too detailed with too many panels. You're like, man, you're gonna miss a lot of because especially today because a lot of people are drawing on their iPads with Procreate. So you could zoom in, you could do all these detail, but by the time you get to nine panels, you'll never see any of that detail from an artist because it's just too small of a panel. But when you're doing headshots, I mean, that's perfect. That looks
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's more about the page and the panel. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, just going through some pages
You see
of the
the
artwork, you can
regeneration
see.
vector. Yeah.
Yeah, immediately, which was pretty cool, man. And like you said, there you see it almost like you're watching a movie it take place, which I love. Yeah,
It's great. And
yeah,
again, another shout out to Wilson. Wilson asked me what time of the day it was so he could adjust the sky color
that's
uh,
awesome, man. Like dusk.
accordingly. Yeah, I never even I didn't have an answer to that. I'm detailed, but I'm not detailed, so
Yeah,
I had to make a call there.
yeah.
I did research there as well. I was gonna have it to be laser fire because
Hmm.
I thought that was more if you go up if yeah I was gonna have that originally laser fire,
Hmm.
but I did my research and lasers don't they can't be used to volley. It's just
Oh,
one
straight
direction. They
up.
don't yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I decided to yeah stay with artillery and yeah
yeah,
that's why I love Rogue One. Yeah, they use artillery in the final battle scene in
yeah,
Sky. Yeah,
yeah.
that's good work. I mean, laser cannons are great, but if they need to do this kind of damage, it would have to be from a satellite or something.
Hmm.
It's not, yeah, it wouldn't be used in ground warfare like that. So
Yeah,
yeah, we're not, yes, yeah, it's just impossible. So you got to play in your sandbox.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I love the research that went behind it.
yeah, and that's yeah, that's
Awesome.
another of those movement panels, three and yeah,
Yeah,
with the with the
love
with
it.
the smoke going out of the way to show the charred remains of a doll. Yeah, yeah, that's
That's
what I'm
just
talking
good art
about.
right there. That's great art.
Yeah, yeah.
And here's
Yeah,
the two covers for issues
yeah, one and two.
one and two right here. One on the left right here, which we've got, and here's two right here, which I'm really excited to get a physical copy in my hands. I love reading in a PDF version, but I have my boxes that I like to keep my collections in, so can't wait for my physical to come in. I ordered one and two, so yeah, it'll be awesome.
Oh, great. Were you number 71?
I did yesterday, I think, last night.
Oh, okay, no, you might be number
Yeah.
70. We just while we were doing this, we got to number 71. So
Oh,
thank you,
sweet.
whoever
Whoever
that
that
was.
was. Yeah.
I know we're not live, but yeah, whoever that was, if you're number
Yeah,
71, thank you.
yeah. Yeah. And then, I always like, because I have a comic book, right? And one of the hard things to do is to create names for each of your characters.
Mhm.
And then, if you're creating names and you're in a certain world, those names will probably be relatable to other people, not necessarily similar. But how do you go about when you're world building to come up with all these different names for different characters, like Aladdin right here?
Um, well, there's a lot of etymology as well. I had
Yeah.
to have a look at it's like our names. They're
Mhm.
corruption of Latin names,
Mhm.
or or in my case, Spanish names.
Yeah.
So yeah, I called Kaladin Kaladin because I thought that he'd be a sort of a mix of African and Hispanic, and that's
Right.
what yeah that's the form that the character takes.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, Mkali, that's an I thought that the language, if from that character, from the character to species, if humanized, would
Yeah.
be punctuated with yeah, a lot of breaks and a lot of apostrophes and commas and so on. And yeah, I think it does give it that non-Calend that non-Caledon species, well, community, that foreign sounding
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and same
Elroy,
yeah,
Bolero.
yeah, same with yeah, everyone else. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, the names are yeah, they have their sociological roots. Yeah.
Love it, man. All right, let's get into some of the rewards real quick.
Yeah.
Again, man, you're getting quite bang for your buck. I would say because most comic books are half this size at this price point. So not only are you getting an amazing story, you're getting a beginning, a middle, and an end to each of these stories. You're also getting quite a bit of pages for the amount of money that you're paying, which I think is a quite the deal, to be quite honest, because the art is amazing and obviously the storylines are incredible. So here's the physical. Here's issue number one and issue number two. And I think if we go down to yeah, I wanted to show that foil variant. There's the one we already saw up above.
Yeah. Yep.
Where's that
Yeah. I
foil?
mean,
Oh, right
yeah.
here. The foil variant
And
looks actually awesome, man.
yeah, I mean, usually I'm not a fan, but it just works for sci-fi. It just
It
does.
does. It does. Yeah. Certain comics it doesn't work for, and I think they overdo it a little bit for the collectability. Some of us are like, well, I'll buy it because I need it for my collection, but I'll never read it. But this is
Yeah.
awesome, man. Like you said, it works, and I love how even like it looks like a portion of her is missing through the foil. I don't know if that was on purpose, but I love that because you have to use your imagination.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was on purpose, but I'll
Yeah,
take
it's
it.
yeah. I mean, that's what's really cool about some of the metal foils is it does do that, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's so cool.
Especially, yeah, it came out nice, man. Came out really nice.
Yeah, yeah, we have I think we have one guy who does it in Sydney, so
You
don't
found
piss
the
off
one
that
guy.
guy. Yeah, don't piss off
Yeah.
that guy. His name's Doug. Doug, we love you.
Yeah.
Don't
Here
get him
you
in
go,
town.
man. $35 for two foil covers, I think, is a really good price as well. So, like the price points on your titles are very good. Obviously, you probably have to do that because shipping. I just know whenever I get someone from Australia or the UK or even Canada, the shipping is insane. So, to make it affordable, I think is really important, and you've done that, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I wish I could take credit, but the pricing is all
Yeah.
yeah, it's all the publisher, the comics
Hmm.
guys.
Yeah. Well, they did a good job. I think that's important to make it affordable, especially in the indie world, right? It's you're
Hmm.
competing with so much, even on Kickstarter. I don't know how many comics are on Kickstarter right now, but you're competing with a lot. So all you've done a good job, or they've done a good job doing that. Here's Mr. Ben, who I hopefully get to meet at a Comic Con somewhere.
Yeah, and
But
his art looks great. Don't get me wrong, his art looks good. but now it looks even better. His artwork is just evolving. It's just getting
Yeah.
better, better and better. Yeah, he's really
If
great. Yeah.
Ryan Otley is your favorite artist, you got good taste, man. Ryan Otley, like Invincible is my favorite comic I've
All
ever
right.
read. It's I have issues 1 through 144, and then I have all the variants. I got when Invincible went to the 616 and had an adventure with Spider-Man. Like I got it all, man. I love Invincible, and Ryan
That's
Otley is a big reason of that. Then he went to Incredible Hulk, and he did incredible on the Hulk line. And now he's doing a bunch of other stuff, but he is absolutely incredible. And if Ben is being told, which I agree, his art looks similar to Ryan Otley, that's a pretty damn good um, person to be related to. If you ever go to a Comic Con and Ryan Otley's there, look at the line of people waiting to get their comic signed by him. I mean,
Yeah, that's
uh,
great. Well, hopefully it comes to Australia, and I will
yeah,
read that Invincible. That's high praise
yeah.
coming from you. And I have watched the television series. Did you watch it? Have you watched that?
Oh
Do you like
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I will tell you the if you read the comic, and this is always the case, right? The comic is a little bit different,
it?
in not in a bad way or a good way, just a little bit different. The changes that they made, I think you need to make as you go into production. I mean, that happens all the time with movies. I know as fans we get pissed off. We're like, that's not what the comic book did. A lot of times when you're in production, right, you can't reenact some of the things that happened on a page of a comic book, so they have to make certain changes.
Yeah.
But it's
It's
incredible. It's literally my favorite comic book, man.
Oh
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
Invincible. Yeah, that and Conan are the two that I have the largest collection. Conan the Barbarian. I like a lot of violence in my comic books, and I like the
All
blood and
right.
the guts and all that other good stuff. Which you better like if you like Invincible, man. That train scene alone will make you
Yeah.
a little queasy if that's not your thing.
Yeah. Oh well, it's more the emotional parts that really linger,
Yeah, for sure.
Omni-Man exiting atmosphere and the tear coming out of his eye as he leaves
Yeah,
was uh was far more traumatic than say his genocide of the Flaxans
yeah,
when he screws up that planet. As
yeah.
uh as visceral as that was, it's the more emotional aspects that yeah really
Absolutely.
that's it just clutches your heart. It stays in you as opposed to
Yeah.
giving you spectacle for a finite amount of time. It's just
Yeah.
motion lasts. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, Robert Kirkman has done that with several titles. And he just
Yeah.
came out of nowhere one time, and then all of a sudden, this guy's got some of the top runs in comics ever. I mean, Firepower, if you've never read that, is absolutely
Mhm.
incredible.
The image
And then
as well.
I'm sorry,
The image.
Image Comics, yeah, Firepower. It's
Yeah.
another. He just ended it, I think, on issue 35, 38. And I think it just, with everything that's happening with Invincible and some of the other titles with Transformers and down, Warren Johnson taking that over, who also is another amazing artist and writer. I think he had to just kind of put Firepower to rest. So it kind of ended abruptly. But I think he's just so busy that he can't stay on a book long term like that, which makes sense because Skybound is killing it right now. And now they're making live action movies. And anyways, I'll
I
regress.
gotta read. What would you esteem of his works, Cartman's works, as being close to Invincible in terms of quality? Would it
Well,
be
I mean,
Firepower? Would that be number
Firepower.
two?
Yeah, Firepower is actually very, very good. Obviously, if you like zombies, you have what's his other title that became the TV show that ran for, it's still going on in all
Yes,
kinds of different
Walking Dead. Yeah,
Walking
yeah,
Dead. Yeah, that's not I was never a big fan of Walking Dead.
yeah.
But I love this story because that was his first story that he sold to Image Comics. And
Okay.
when they said this is just a zombie story, we need something more. So he lied and said that aliens
Aliens.
came. Yeah. And then by the time they got to like issue 6,
Where's the aliens?
Eric Larson, who was I think he was, because they kind of switch around. He was the CEO at the time, or maybe he was just the chief creative officer. He went to me, goes, I don't see aliens. He goes, hey, I got to be honest. There's no aliens in this book. But by that time, it was already extremely popular and they couldn't do anything about it. So he lied his way
Yeah.
into Image, and now look at him. He did so well with that one title that he's the only person at Image that made him a partner. So you have the original Image, right? You have Mark Silvestri, Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane.
Guys who left
Um, they actually
Marvel, yeah,
made him an equal. Yeah, they all came from Marvel, but they made him an equal. So now he is in the same position that the rest of them are. They have not done that for anybody else, and that's because of the popularity of that title, and then obviously Invincible and everything else he's done. And Image was struggling at that time, right? This is when we're in the middle of the Spawn, like our issues like 151, and Spawn was really hard to read during that time. They were really, and then Robert Kirkman just shot life into Image Comics, and now you see them today, and they're back to where they were in the '90s when they first
yeah,
came
yeah.
on the scene. So he
It's hard to
helps.
imagine Image struggling. Yeah, I mean they do
Yeah,
Saga as well, right?
I'm sorry.
They do Saga, right?
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
That
love
was
Saga.
another one. But Saga, the creative team, right? I think it got burnt out because they were so popular and they're trying to be everywhere and they're still trying to write the story. They took long breaks and they lost a lot of their fan base when they took the break. And then when they came back, which they just restarted up, I don't think the same fans all return. Probably because they got hooked on other titles. Who knows? I've never read Saga to be quite honest. Um, although I've heard I
Probably,
should.
yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
I
don't.
know.
Wait until it's all done so you
Yeah,
can read it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm one of
yeah.
the people who had to wait, and it's still great. It holds
Is it?
up.
Yeah. Good, good. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know they took a year break, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah.
from like issue 30 something before they came back. And you got to do what you got to do, man. I don't know the situation, so I don't want to speak on it, but I think that hurts your brand when you take a long break, especially when you're at the height of popularity, right? Because that was the one title, that Image, that was just exploding. And then, of course, Kirkman comes in, and now I feel like everything that guy touches explodes. Anyways, we're
Yeah.
here for Stellarlands.
No,
Can
no,
you
no. I
talk
love to
about
learn. Yeah.
this? Can you talk a
Oh,
little bit about
yeah.
this right here?
Oh, yeah. No, these are the high price point pledges, but you can get unique art where Ben draws directly onto the page,
Oh,
and it's so unique that not even I will own a copy. And in terms of rarity, the if can we just go back up to the variant covers
sure.
just quickly?
Yeah.
These variant covers
Mm-hmm.
are are Kickstarter exclusive.
Gotcha.
Not the not the main covers, but
The foils. Just the
no, no, no,
foils, right?
no, no, not the foils. Everything that has the variant image on it, like
Oh,
those.
wow. Yeah, all these.
After
Got it.
this, yeah, after this campaign,
Mm-hmm.
it will no longer be available. The comics was very clear on this. Whatever gets printed of these two variants will be the only time that they are printed.
Wow.
You could probably get them again in, the second yeah, in the second-hand market or something. But
Yeah.
if you want it, if you want cover the covers originally printed, this will be the only time because yeah, comics, these guys, they value rarity and
Yeah.
they value exclusivity. So
Yeah.
this campaign closes. That's it. That's
That's
it.
it.
No more of these variant covers. We will have future variant covers, hopefully when we make our next Kickstarters. But
Yeah.
these two variant covers are this will be the only time you can get them, be they
Love
in
it.
foil or regular. So yeah, get them.
Get
That's
them.
the opportunity won't
Get them
uh
now. Get them now.
yeah, yeah.
So this is pretty cool. Limited slots, obviously, because of the labor behind the
Yeah,
band,
yeah.
and it seems like that would take a while, so that makes sense. And then, for those of you that where maybe price point is an issue, there's still great pricing on the digital side, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
to be honest, it never occurred to me when I wrote this during lockdown, it never occurred to me to make physical copies.
hmm
By that point, I had because I love to read. I read all the time. I also travel for work, and you cannot bring a library with you on a plane, so you got to have an iPad or a laptop. And as such, I became a digital reader through and through, and Stellarlands was
yeah,
going to be a PDF or Kindle title only.
hmm
Uh, Comics convinced me otherwise, and I'm glad they did because I mean, I didn't care at first, but then the
Yeah.
moment I physically touched a copy, something happened, not just in terms of comic books, but in terms of my life. And now I'm
Yeah.
back to, ever since lockdown, I'm back to buying physical copies of books and just taking up all the space in this box apartment that I live in, that I love.
Yeah.
But
I love.
it's just no space. Thank you,
Yeah,
Colin.
yeah.
But I'm glad
I
I listened
love.
to your advice. As much as I make,
Yeah.
yeah, I love digital reading, but
Yeah.
I can't explain it, man. There's just something about the physical, holding something physical. I don't think anyone can explain it. There's
Yeah.
there's
There is
especially
something to holding a book in your hand. I mean, I know libraries were when digital became so popular, like what's going to happen to a library? I don't think libraries are going anywhere. There's always the smell of a book, the turning of the page, the
no.
feel you get on your fingers. Like I love all of that, whether it's a comic, a novel.
And if
I'm
it's
not sure that'll
new,
ever. Mm.
you hear a crack. If it's new,
Yeah.
open it. Yeah,
You get
yeah,
the
yeah,
spine, the crack in the spine, and you're just like,
yeah. That's
yeah.
so
Yeah,
good.
when
Yeah,
you hear the crack, that means that you're like a quarter of the way through the book, and you got to kind of go like this to open it up to get those words as you get toward the. I love it, man.
yeah,
As I don't think it'll
yeah.
ever go away.
No, no, yeah, yeah. Of course not.
It's so
And yeah,
cool,
here
man.
we
There's
are.
Ben. Yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome, man.
And yeah, we've already hit the first two stretch goals, and yeah,
Nice.
third stretch goal coming soon. Yeah,
Love
so
it. I love it.
everybody who orders a physical will get a bookmark.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
and
beautiful, man.
yeah, there you go. So that's yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I don't know what that means. Printed in the USA. I guess we have a printer in the USA.
Yeah, I use them as well. Comic Wellspring's very good. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanted to buy your book when I met the comics gentleman.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'll send
yeah.
you one. Don't worry about it, Max. I got you, my friend. I got you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'd love to pay for it, but yeah, he didn't have your title stocked.
No
But
worries. No
I
worries.
see him everywhere. He works hard.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to know that. So yeah, next time.
Yeah. We'll have to get the comics team on too, man, because they have quite a few titles. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think
I've
that's
already
pretty
seen
cool as
some.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got this from comics. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Chimera.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, what's your one called?
Kingsville.
Kingsville. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't have Kingsville. I'll get. Yeah, I told him to get it, but next time I see him in
We'll
Comic
take
Con,
care of you. We'll take care
yeah,
of you. We'll
yeah,
take care of you. We got you. Yeah.
yeah, awesome.
Well, Max, I mean, congratulations, man. Anytime you do a Kickstarter and you hit your goal, that's always a plus. There's still, what, 7 days left or 9 days left. So
Yeah,
anybody that's watching this, we'll get this out as soon as possible. We'll put all the links below to make sure that people could get their hands on it. Let's get you over well over your goal. That way you're already,
yeah.
funding the next issues. That's always the goal of Kickstarter, right? You never
Well,
really make your money back, to be quite honest. At least I never did. Even when you hit your
it's
goal, right?
yeah.
It's
Well, I'm not as much as I appreciate
yeah,
exceeding the financial goal that we reached last year. The number that I really want is the number of pledgers, just the number of people
absolutely.
who get booked, because
Mm-hmm.
those are eyeballs. That's
Yeah,
more eyeballs on my work, on Ben's work.
yeah,
And yeah, we got 88 people last time. So we're right now up to 71, and I hope we exceed 88. That would definitely mean a lot to me. It means that there are more readers.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel the same way about film, even if it shows in, Canberra Film Festival or Byron Bay Film Festival, or it was once shown in a Coliseum in Greece, my short films, and
oh
that was
wow,
amazing. But you know what? Even if it shows in a basement theater in the outskirts of London somewhere and only four people watch it, I'm happy with that too.
yeah,
And that's the reason to break out the champagne, because that's four pairs of eyeballs that watch it. And I feel the same way about comic books. I want people to see it, more eyeballs on it, whether you get it
yeah.
from. this Kickstarter or the next Kickstarter, I just hope we exceed the pledger number, the backer number. So
Yeah.
if you're watching this, give our Kickstarter page a visit. As we mentioned before, we have some Kickstarter exclusive variant covers that
Right.
this will be the only time you get it. You're getting a good price point. You're almost double that of normal comics, but in those normal comics which are mostly smash and solve your problems with powers and stuff. I love them. I have nothing against them. I mean, that's what I was raised on. But if you want something a little more with infused with a little more emotion, this is great too. And I think you'll get a little more of something in the increased page count as
Yeah.
well. So do check us out. There's 2 issues, and it'll break your heart. Get ready to feel something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, Max, congratulations, my friend. You're always welcome. Cannot wait for issue 3 to come out, even though I haven't even got issue 1 and 2 physically yet. Actually, I do have a physical copy of 1, but I reordered one. So,
Oh, appreciate it.
yeah. But congratulations on all your success, and cannot wait for issue 3, my friend. We'll get this posted immediately to try and get some more eyeballs on there.
Yeah, thank you. And let's do this live one day. This was great.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday and an amazing weekend, my friend. Actually, it's
Yeah, you
almost your
too.
Saturday.
Yep, it is. It
It
is
is
29th
officially.
Saturday. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Enjoy your weekend, my friend. But
Yeah,
I
you
really
too,
appreciate
sir.
you spending time with me.
Yeah, thank you. It was my pleasure.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you again.
All right.
Hold on, let me hit stop here.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.